Here's the hard truth. Some of the biggest retirement mistakes aren't made by people who don't earn much. They're made by successful professionals. High income can create a false sense of security. And today, I'm breaking down the most common retirement planning mistakes I see smart, accomplished people make. Hi, I'm Cecilia with Nelson Will Strategies. If you are a professional business owner or high earner, these are mistakes that might be worth paying attention to before retirement sneaks up on you. One of the biggest mistakes professionals make is assuming that high income automatically translates to a strong retirement plan. Earning more money feels like progress, and in many ways it is, but income is just a tool. It creates opportunity, not outcomes. Without intentionally planning, higher income often leads to higher spending, higher taxes, and more complexity, not necessarily better for results. Lifestyle expands, tax exposure grows, and opportunities to structure money efficiently are often missed. I see many high earners who are doing well on paper, strong salaries, bonuses, or business income, but whose retirement plans rely on assumptions rather than strategy. A strong retirement plan isn't built on how much you make, it's built on how much money is allocated, how risk is managed, how taxes are considered, and how future income will be generated. High income gives you leverage, but without a strategy, that leverage isn't being used effectively. The goal isn't just to earn more, it's to make sure what you earn is working intentionally towards your long-term goals. Many professionals do exactly what they're told to do. They max out their 401ks, IRAs, year after year. That's a great habit. It shows discipline. But retirement planning doesn't stop at contributions. In fact, for many professionals, that's where the real planning begins. Retirement isn't just about how much money you accumulate, it's about how that money works when you need it. That means thinking ahead to tax diversification, income timing, and how funds will be assessed later in life. For example, saving heavily into a tax-deferred account can create a future where most retirement income is taxable, sometimes at a higher rate than expected. Without balance, that can limit flexibility. It also raises important questions like, when will you draw your income? Which accounts will you use first? How will withdrawals affect taxes, benefits, or cash flow? Maxing out all accounts is an excellent start, but it's only one piece of a much bigger picture. A complete retirement plan looks at accumulation, distribution, so that money that you saved can actually support the lifestyle you want. Another major oversight professionals make is underestimating the role taxes will play in retirement. There's a common assumption that once the paycheck stops, taxes just fade into the background, but that's rarely the case. In reality, many professionals spend decades saving into a tax-deferred account like 401ks and traditional IRAs. Those accounts provide tax benefits up front, but the trade-offs come later when the withdrawals are taxed at ordinary income. Without tax-aware planning, retirees can be surprised by how much of their income is exposed to taxes, especially when required distributions begin. This can impact not just income, but Medicare premiums, Social Security taxation, and overall cash flow. The challenge isn't that tax-deferred accounts are bad. They can be effective tools. The challenge is relying on them exclusively without considering how and when that money will be assessed. Tax-aware retirement planning is about understanding future tax exposure and creating flexibility, so you're not focused to withdraw income in the most expensive way possible. When taxes aren't planning for ahead of time, professionals can end up paying more in retirement than they did during their working years. Not because they made mistakes, but because the planning wasn't intentional. Many professionals delay retirement planning not because they're careless, but because they're busy.
He needs some milk.
They're building careers, growing businesses, raising families, and handling real responsibilities. Retirement planning often feels like something that can wait, something you'll focus on once things slow down. But in reality, time is one of the most valuable tools in retirement planning. Time allows money to compound, strategies to adjust, and mistakes to be corrected early. It gives flexibility, the ability to change course without pressure. When planning is delayed, you don't just lose time, you lose options.
What?
You may be forced to save more aggressively, take on more risk, or make decisions with less room for error. And once time is gone, it can't be replaced. You can earn more money, but you can't earn more years for compounding to work. Starting early doesn't require perfection or large contributions. It simply gives your future self more breathing room. Successful professionals are smart, disciplined, driven, and used to solving complex problems. But that strength can sometimes create overconfidence, especially when it comes to retirement planning. Retirement planning isn't one decision or one account. It's a system that includes taxes, investments, risk management, long-term income planning, all working together over decades. The challenge is that no one is an expert in every one of those areas at the same time. You might be excellent in investing, but overlook future tax exposure. You might focus on growth, but underestimate how income will actually be assessed in retirement. Those gaps are what we call blind spots. Areas that don't feel urgent today, but can quietly become expensive later. The real risk isn't making a bad decision, it's assuming there's nothing left to review, when in reality, small oversights can compound over time. Smart planning isn't about knowing everything, it's about recognizing what you can't see and making sure it's addressed before it becomes a problem. The goal of retirement planning isn't just to stop working, it's to create more flexibility, confidence, and control over your future. Avoiding these mistakes can make a meaningful difference long term. If this video resonated, make sure to like, subscribe for more educational content around money, planning, and financial confidence.